remembering as a kid growing up in Puerto Rico, in the morning, early in the morning, I mean, el gallo cantando, I could still hear coquis. But what I was always listening for was my grandfather, who was already up, and he was already in the barn with the animals. And I would just jump up and get my clothes on and make a beeline to the barn to help him out, because I knew that if I was the one that was going to bring that warm milk to grandma, who was already in the kitchen, colando el café, that I would get a nice cup of coffee. So that was my little prize in the morning. And to this day, I'll drive, I don't care how far, into the city just to get myself a good cup of Puerto Rican coffee. It just brings me back, reminds me, you know, whether it's coffee in the morning or el cafecito de la tarde, just reminds me of home. So colando el café was literally a long piece of material on this wire that my grandma had, and it looked like a sock. The coffee grounds were in there, and I can remember my grandma would put the hot water and literally have to lift this thing, right? And so I'd make sure that I was the one that brought that milk so that she could mix it with the coffee, and it just tastes awesome. I guess today you would call that frothing or whatever, but back then that's how they did it. She did it, and that always reminds me of home, a good cup of coffee. So we lived up in the hills, el barrio MAMEY in Gurabo, and for miles, all you could see was hills, and I could see from where I lived, Juncos, Canóvanas, and behind me, San Lorenzo. On a clear day, it was just beautiful. So when I arrived here in Chicago around 89 or so, I came here to study art, and then quickly found myself doing other things because I was bilingual, but more importantly, found myself singing because somebody had heard me singing along to songs, just like everybody else does, sings along to your favorite song. Said, you know, you should try out singing with a band as back vocals or whatnot, and started ever since then, and kind of worked my way up doing back vocals for a lot of the local bands. Was fortunate to learn from a lot of the established artists already here, and then got into backing up artists from Puerto Rico and New York. Did that for many, many years, and just continued learning and honing my skills as a singer, songwriter. And yeah, I was just fortunate. I guess, you know, life took a different turn for me, right? I was coming for one thing and then got into the arts and singing. Amor como el nuestro, no hay dos en la vida, por más que se busque, por más que se esconda. Tú duermes conmigo toditas las noches y te quedas callada sin ningún reproche. Por eso te quiero, por eso te adoro. Eres en mi vida mi único tesoro. A veces regreso borracho de angustia, te lleno de besos y caricias mustias, pero estás dormida y no sientes caricias. Te abrazo a mi pecho, me duermo contigo, mas luego despierto, tú no estás conmigo, solo está mi almohada. My name is Billy Rivera, soy puertorriqueño y soy Chicago.